Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Jacob. And I hope you guys are having a good Monday out there. And I got to say something. What's up with Mother Nature this week? I mean, it snowed about three times here in Virginia. It snowed about 2 weekends ago. That was the ice storm. And then it snowed last weekend and it snowed last night. I mean, I don't know what's up with the snow, but but it needs to go away. But anyways, you can check out the podcast Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern time right here on YouTube. You can check us out at Conversations with Jacob podcast.weebly.com. There you can find upcoming guests, past guests, and and also on there it's the episode countdown timer, and we can see when the next episode airs. You can follow me on Instagram. It's Jacob Online. It's Jacob Online. That's the Instagram handle. That's not me just saying it's Jacob Online. That's my Instagram handle. Our partners for the podcast is the Sophia Ground Foundation. You can visit them at www.sophiagroundfoundation.org. And also our other partner is Stand for the Silent. That's an anti-bullying program. Kirk Smoddy is the president, and he'll be back on the podcast. Which I think Kirk's going to be back here in about, well, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks, which I talked to him this week, and he's eager to come back on. So my guest this week on the podcast, so let me get everything moved out of the way here. I tell you what, I'm in a small space here, and it's kind of hard to move around a bit. But my guest this week is Carla Matthes, and she's the author of Everything Is Fine and Stop and Staring at Me, which we're going to talk about the book, and we're going to talk about her life. And Carla, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, for people who don't know anything about you, and this is your first podcast, you told me, for people that don't know anything about you, can you give us a little description on who you are?
Well, I am a little bit of a nomad currently. I am working towards a new career, new writing and all that kind of stuff, but working towards doing full-time RVing. I lived about a year and a half in Mexico, and I just want to travel and live life freely. I don't do rules very well.
There you go. There you go. Now, and what made you want to write this book?
Well, I've wanted to write it for a long time. I've got my story, my past, and I've wanted to write it down and share it. There's a lot about people, and you don't realize why they are the way they are until you know about their past. And then with writing it, and I've had beta readers and everybody, and I've had a lot of people that can relate to certain aspects of it. And so it kind of turned into more of a being something that people can relate to, and letting them know they're not so weird and different.
Now, now, when you think about your childhood, and what's the first memory that comes up?
Like the oldest memory,
Yeah, I
or the
guess. Yeah,
first memory.
it
the
doesn't
first
matter.
the first thing that comes up is the religion that I grew up in. Yeah.
Now, can you talk a little bit about that religion?
Yes. So it's called Independent Fundamental Baptist, and it's on the borderline of being like a cult. So a lot of people call it a cult, but I don't think it's quite to that stage. But yeah, I mean, it had all the rules of, girls have to wear skirts, and they can't show any form or anything tight, no skin. Like, you have to wear skirts down to below your knees. Can't show your shoulders or your back or anything like that. You can't go to movie theaters because they play R-rated movies, and you are being worldly if you do that. You can't listen to music. All the music you can listen to is, traditional hymns, like nothing that has a beat, nothing, no drums, no guitar, no nothing. Even, Christian music and stuff that have a beat is very, very no. It's very much, girls are held to a certain standard, and if they dress a certain way, then they're going to get raped, and it's going to be their fault. And that's the way I was raised. And it just, you have to, it's being separate, and and it's very lonely.
Now, and what was your relationship like with your father?
So my father was there when I was born first. There he's married to my mom, and then he divorced my mom, or my mom divorced him probably when I was somewhere around one or two. And he was an alcoholic. He's a little crazy. He's he's uh he's still crazy, but he would the times after my mom left him, he would when he had me, he'd go to the bar and I'd have to sit in the car while he's at the bar up until one night he went to the bar and I sat there and I was like, I do not want to sit in this truck anymore. So I got out and I ran around the truck to go in the bar with him and he couldn't catch me. So finally he decided that we would not go to the bar that night. But no, and then one day he up and I don't know exactly what happened. There's lots of stories in my family. There's some kind of memory problem in my family that no one remembers the full story. Everyone's story is different, but he ended up ghosting me. I mean, I'd see him on the street and he would act like he didn't see me. And then he dropped all my stuff off one day at a friend's house and that was it.
Now, when you look back, and how do you think your childhood and shaped the way you handle life today?
Oh, my childhood gave me a strength. It gave me like I had a yearning for independence and freedom and happiness. And that's what I grew from. What I didn't have is what grew a positive outcome in me. It grew like a strength in me. I don't know how to describe it. I had all these rules. So I was going to make sure and not have rules. What do I want to do? I was going to make sure and be happy. And I was going to bring happiness to others.
Now, with the book you're writing, is this your first book and that you've ever written?
Yes.
It is.
I never thought I'd be writing a book. And one day I sat down. I wanted to write it for quite a while. I started about 8 years ago, probably. Thought I'm going to write this. And I couldn't even get one page down. And then back in August, I sat down. I thought, I'm going to try again. And that day I wrote my first 9 pages. I thought, I kind of enjoy this. And it kind of became my self therapy. I got a lot of things out that I've never gotten out before. And it's kind of like taking my voice back. It's a voice growing up in that religion, I was not allowed to think what I want to think or do what I want to do. So this is kind of taking my voice. It's kind of I can put my feelings out there so that no one can hold anything against me. I'm gonna throw it all out there and you can judge me and I don't care because I'm telling everyone this is how I am.
Yeah. Oh, which I know last year, which I wrote my first book. It's like it's a fiction cowboy book. Which I wrote my first book. It's not long at all, like 110 pages. And and while I was writing the book, each scene kind of played out in my head, like I was watching a movie, I guess. And
Mhm.
and I don't know if it was just me or not, but I found that kind of cool, and just to write a book and how the scenes I could just play out in your head like that. My next question is, I'm going back to the religious part. Uh, and what impact and did the dress codes and teachings have on how you viewed your own body?
So I grew up in that dress code in the church. So coming in first off, let me tell you, I came in. So my dad, my mom were divorced. My mom married this other guy, and he was from Possum Trot, Georgia. Okay, he was very very different, and so we were in the church, and it kind of felt to me like everyone else grew up in this church. They all would go to church. Their dads wore suits. Their moms were stay-at-home moms. And then we came in, and I had a stepdad who never wore a suit. He wore these pearl button-up, like Western style shirts, and he smoked and dipped and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of grew up feeling like the outcast of the outcast people, the outsider of the outsiders, I guess, because I felt like we as a group were very outside people, being a skirt crew and the weird ones that didn't go to school and were just different. We didn't know music, we didn't do anything like that. But then I felt my personal feeling was that I was even like the bottom of the totem pole of those people because I didn't have the traditional independent fundamental Baptist family. So it was very different. My sister kind of helped raise me up until the point where she left home about, I want to say 15 or 16. And there's controversy of why she left home there too, because my mom's story is different from my aunt's story. But my sister went and left and moved with my aunt, and we didn't talk to her for a while. And so it just kind of, it's very, you know, a crazy kind of childhood. But it taught me a lot. It taught me more than what I think I would have learned if I would have grown up normally. It taught me a lot of perseverance and strength and independence.
Now, and do you think at the time, and did you feel protected by the church or did you feel trapped by it?
Trapped. I felt very trapped. I felt very controlled and trapped and manipulated. Well, I felt like it was trying to manipulate me, but I wasn't going with it. And so that for that reason that I was looked down upon maybe.
Now, you told me through email that your mom was married 6 to 7 times.
She's married 7 times with 6 men. Yes.
Wow. um, now, and how did bouncing between church school, homeschool, and a public school, and how did that affect your ability to trust systems or authority?
Oh, I question authority. The church first off is gave me the questioning authority because I was like, well, why do I have to do this? I went to the preacher one time. We were having a teen night at the teen center or whatever, and the preacher was there. And I said, why if you can show me in the Bible, like literally show me in the Bible where it says I have to wear a skirt and it has to be these rules and stuff, then I will go by it. I will not fight it at all. And he sat there and he's like, well, this scripture says this. I said, well, that's not saying anything about a skirt. And then writing my book, I did a deep dive research into the Independent Film Baptist IFB. And there's a lot that I learned that really, really shocked me. So the Independent Fundamental Baptist IFB was created back in, I think, the 60s or 70s by these three men because Southern Baptist was not conservative strict enough because the women were starting to, at that time, because of war, they're starting to go out and work and they're wearing slacks to go work at uh, where they worked at, mills or warehouses or where they're doing. They started going to work and wearing pants. And these three men said that no, they weren't okay with that. Women should not wear pants. And so they came up with this whole new religion to be conservative and get rid of women wearing pants. And part of it was because to control the men from their lust, and also because it's a way of control from the men controlling the women and the women showing their obedience. As I don't remember the question that we started on, but
Sorry.
I got down a rabbit hole. That's kind of what I did in my book too. I started going down rabbit holes, but it was insane, and yeah, it made me question. I think the word question was authority, and
Yeah.
so I felt like they were authority over me for no reason. And so now, if you give me a reason to have authority, that's fine. Cops are there and they arrest people because they have authority for laws. The laws are there. That's fine. But you telling me to do something just because that's what you want, I will go do the exact opposite. I am very bad about doing. If you want me to do something, you tell me to do the opposite, and that's what I'll do.
Now, with this religion, it kind of sounds a little bit like the Amish almost.
Yeah, yeah, it's like borderline Amish. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
Only we got to have electronics.
There you go. Yeah. Now, and what was it like walking into a public school and feeling how visible and different and from everyone else?
Oh yeah, so the fifth grade year, the first year I went to public school after the whole whatever it was fourth grade and all that. But fifth grade year, I walked in. First off, my mom enrolled me as Carla Pickard. Carla Pickard was her husband's name, the guy from Hospital, Georgia. And we never changed my name legally. That's just what she enrolled me as. But she said that that's what I wanted. I don't know. But so that I went to school as Carla Pickard in skirts, and I was so weird. I remember wearing long sleeve shirts under short sleeve shirts and these long dresses and skirts, and I wanted to belong, but I knew I didn't, and I felt so outside this bubble or something. I don't know how to describe it. I felt so outside looking in. I don't
Now,
remember having friends that year.
yeah, and that goes into my next question. And did you make a lot of friends in school?
So fifth grade, I don't remember. I think I might have. I don't remember who they were. Sixth grade, I made a really good friend. She was weird like me. She wasn't, religious weird, but she's weird like me, and we just kind of embraced the weirdness. Like we said, we're weird, and we're just gonna be balls to wall weird. Anyways, and so we were balls to wall weird, and but I do remember people coming up to kids that come up to me at school. They're like, "Hey, why do you always wear skirts?" And that was the most awkward question I ever had to answer was, well, just because my mom says I have to, because the church says I have to. And it's just so awkward. I hate that question because I wanted to scream out, I don't want to wear these skirts, but I have to wear these skirts. But don't judge me because I'm wearing these skirts. The way I look is not because the way I want to look.
No, and
But yeah.
do you think that the lack of real education was accidental or was a part of keeping you controlled?
I think I it's a hard question. So what I want to say about that is because I went to school my first 3 years, my first second kindergarten, first, second, and third grade were in the school at the church. And then for some reason they shut it down. And then I went to fourth grade, these two families, homeschooling, and I went to fifth, sixth, and seventh grade public school. And 10th, 11th grade, I did homeschool with the youth pastor. And then senior year is a whole different story. But I think the other kids in the church, and it's really weird that there was, at the time I went there was a whole group of kids that were around my age. And that's the only time that church that kids have ever been in that church. So it's very weird that it was that time and that's when I was there. But all of them got to be homeschooled by their moms because their moms didn't work. So I think they wanted to give education. Now, college education is a different story, but they wanted to educate the kids and not for control, but the kind of education they wanted to give was the control. I would say that.
Now, and did you have a choice of being homeschooled or going to the public school, or did they make it for you?
Oh no, no, I never had the choice. No. It's like when I came out of public school the first time in seventh grade is because my mom was scared because Columbine had just happened.
Oh yeah. Now, how and how did you consider yourself a good student in school?
Oh yeah, I was pretty smart. Like the years in public school, I mean, I was in the AP classes and like it came learning always came easy to me. So yeah, that was never a problem.
Now at the time, did you feel chosen? Did you feel chosen, loved, or seen? And how has that understanding and changed now?
So I, so I felt love from my mom. I did feel love from her, but I felt very alone and wanted, you know, like it goes back to the outsiders, And so that's why I kind of started reaching out and I wanted to find the attention, because my dad had left me. So I felt that rejection, that abandonment. So that's when I started reaching out. And that's kind of what brought me into that one relationship that I wrote to you about.
Uh, now, now, did you do a lot of partying back in the day?
My senior year,
Yeah.
yes, I went balls to wall. It was like letting a dog out of a cage.
How did that feel like? And did that feel more like fun or more like in self destruction?
Oh no, felt it felt kind of like a class of its own. Like I was in the class of the world, like how to be a person. I feel like I was so um behind. I was so behind of normal kids from having social knowledge, social interaction, all that kind of stuff. I felt so behind. And I knew that I was sheltered. I knew that I did not know what normal people do know. And so I wanted to try my best to be as unsheltered and have all the the what's so sometimes I can't think of the right word. All the experiences that normal people would have. I squeezed all that into this 1 year, and I squeezed as much in as I could, and I went hard, and I had a blast. But I had a freaking blast doing it.
Now, can you tell us about the time that you ended up in jail?
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's around the end. So the first time, so my class in school, there was really weird too. It's kind of same as the church. Like a lot of the people in my class, a lot of the kids in my class, their parents own businesses around the town, which Team Care New Mexico is where I'm from. It's 5,000 people. There's not a lot there. So having the majority of the business owners have kids in my class is weird. But so a lot of the kids would hold parties at their parents' places. There was one kid had his parents own motels, one kid's parents owned the Chinese restaurant, one kid's parents own another restaurant, one kid's parents own the theater. And so we go these places, and we had some fun parties. But there was this one night, it was the night before senior week started. And it was the second time, at least I had been to, we threw a party at the movie theater. That was actually the first party that my whole class had come in together and hung out together. And we are having a blast, and something happened outside. Oh, me and this other girl went outside. I think there's a homeless guy or something that scared her, like popped up or scared her or something. So we kind of yelled. Well, the neighbor who was the appliance store of town, who was actually the parents of the guy, the relationship I had, yeah, they thought some people are breaking into the theater, so they called the cops. So we go back in the theater, we're partying. I had actually brought a whole cooler of alcohol, and I had made this beer bong I was so proud of. And so we go back and we're partying. I go to the restroom, and there's no lights on the front because we didn't want to let people know. Well, I go to the restroom, and I come out of the stall to these police with guns aimed at me. I was like, well, get the eye over. You went, oh, yeah, I thought shit in my pants. But no, so they arrested all of us, the whole freaking class, like 50 of us. It was more than a class. And we went to jail that night. And the people who were 18 got charged with contributing minors and minor possession. And they had to go to jail. And the minors were charged with just minor possession. Well, there's like two or three of us that lied and said we're under 18. And so we got to go home. So I didn't go to jail that night. Well, I should have, because they were in jail about 3 hours, and then the judge let them out to go to senior week events, because you can't keep a whole freaking class away from senior week events. So the next weekend after graduation, I'm driving in my car, and my license plate light bulb had went out, and I got pulled over. And the cop that pulled me over said, "Wait a minute, I recognize you. Arrested you last week, and you're not 17, you're 18." So then I went to jail, and it was Memorial Day weekend is in May. But it is that kind of weekend. So I spent Saturday night, Sunday night in jail. Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night in jail, and got out Tuesday. And I was like, shit, if I would just gone the first time, I would have spent 3 hours instead of spent 3 days. But it's Team Carry. I knew two of the people in there, and it was fine.
Now, do you consider jail a breaking point, a wake up call, or just another chapter in survival?
Another chapter.
Another chapter.
It should be a wake up call. It should be a wake up call of, yeah, I don't want to do this again. But it's like, well, that really sucks, and I try not to do it anymore. But actually, I got a story out of it.
Oh yeah. Now, for people who read your book, and what do you hope that they would take away from it?
People read it, and there's lots of stuff that you can look at it as, oh, that's bad or that's sad, and people can relate to certain aspects of it. But I write about it, and I make jokes I talk with dark humor, I make jokes, and they can feel like, okay, well, that happened to me, and she's over here making jokes, and I'm not so alone. This is not just something just happened to me. They can relate to it, and they can see the humor that I give, the positivity, and the growth and learning. Like everything that happens to you, I believe you can take two different routes. You can go positive and grow and learn, and have it as something good in your, or not good in your past, but something in your past that made you who you are today. Or you can sit there and dwell and linger and be sad about it. And I want people to relate and grow and learn and feel bonded.
So, so you kind of want people to kind of get like a good I don't know the word I'm looking for. But what you're saying is, and that you don't want to be the victim of the whole thing. Yeah,
You're a survivor. I'm a survivor, not a victim. And I will never be a victim. No matter what happens, I will never be a victim ever. I'm a survivor. And no matter what happens, I will have a story to tell about it. And I will
absolutely.
learn from it. And it's just part of my past. Your past is your past. You can't change it. So why not embrace it and be okay with it?
Now, have you published the book yet?
No,
You haven't. All right, which I'm sure you will because from what you sent me, which it was in the book, and but you sent me a whole thing last night, which if that's in the book, and then it's going to be a pretty good book.
I'm excited about it. I'm in the first round editing phase right now, and I want to find an agent and get it published. And I really think it can be good. I think it can be helpful. It can be good. It can be funny. I kind of want to get, you remember, I hope they serve beer in hell.
Think so, yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want that kind of aspect of I've told all my thoughts in this book, every dark, petty thought that people don't normally share they when they keep to themselves. I told it. I talked about how I sat there and I thought, oh, I hope the kids in church see me right into my eclipse and they get jealous because I got friends outside the church. All the petty thoughts that people should not share, I shared them all.
So you basically are putting everything into this book, and whether it's good or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I've shared it all.
yeah. There you go. Now, how has writing this book helped you reclaim your voice?
This reclaim my voice because it gives me power over the years in the church. It gives me power over the guy in prison. It gives me because I can talk about it and can make my life out of what you put me through. You put me through this and I will write about it and I will go off of that. This is my voice and you're not going to tell me what I can say or what I can't say, or you're not going to tell me how to think or any how to wear. And I'm going to put it in the book and I'm going to take it back. This is my voice and you can't stop me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, my next question is, which I think I know the answer to this one, but when this book does come out, and if people from the church happens to stumble upon it, and what would you say to them?
Depends on who it is. Well, the major character. I mean, there's two of my friends from the church, and I've told them, and they're good. I've talked to them about it, and then everybody else is kind of like not. They're not main characters. I mean, they're. I mean, if you go back to that guy. I mean, he was the main character, but I don't even know if he'll ever know about it. But so I mean, yeah, I think they'll be okay because the kids that I grew up with, they went through the same stuff. They didn't quite rebel like I did. They didn't um they didn't go wild kind of like the way I did. They kind of kept in their lane until later on, until I got out of the house. Whereas I got out of my lane way before then. So
Now I want to backtrack a little bit. I should have asked this earlier, but I'm backtracking. I'm the one that likes to backtrack and then go forward and backtrack again. But I want to backtrack a little bit here. And how was growing up, and how was your relationship with other guys like?
there there you, I know where you're going. So yeah, so I was like 13 and so in the church, after church, Sunday night was the night the the little group of teens, we're all little teeny babies, there'd be somebody that would always take us. We'd go to fast food or go eat or go do something just to hang out. That was our hangout time. Other kids, got regular hangout. We got after church going to the fast food or something. But there was one guy and he was a son of prominent family in the church. And he was at that time looking, well, in my view at that time. And the other kids. We thought he was really cool. I mean, he would show up to church when he wanted to, and he would not show up when he didn't want to. He didn't really follow the rules. He just showed up and went and did as he pleased. He'd go to the bars, he'd drink, he'd do whatever he wanted. And our view at the time is awesome. Well, then next thing I know, like he started giving me a little attention. And so next thing I know, I start, this kind of relationship with him, which is more a relationship in my mind than his. But anyway, well, yeah, we started a relationship. And he was sneaking at night. I remember the first time he did this, but I woke up in the middle of the night and through my curtains, I see the silhouette of somebody. I don't know why. I didn't go to my mom and say, hey, somebody's trying to break in my window. So I went to my window, opened the curtains, and there he was. I guess he went and got drunk and he didn't have anywhere else to go. So he came to my window. And so then I started sneaking out with him. I started sneaking him in. And next thing, until one day, whenever he was arrested for kidnapping and sexually assaulting a 5-year-old, 8-year-old out of Emerald. And so he went to jail and later on got convicted. And so backtracking before I move on, but there was another guy who actually was one of so my brother is 13 years older than me. My sister is 11. So they're quite a bit older than me. But my brother had a friend, so he's 13 years older than me. Same age difference as the other guy, 13 years older. And he was also another guy that came to church a little bit and he would take the teens out. Well, he was highly interested in me. He'd buy me gifts. He kept telling me he was in love with me, and I was in love with the other guy. So he even drew a picture of me, and it irks me this day. I can't stand that picture, but he drew this picture, and it's really good. But he would do this kind of crazy, creepy little stuff. But anyway, fast forward back again. So this guy is in jail. I remember one time going out of town, me and my best friend time. She's a month older than me. We went with there's 3 ladies. Is a guy's mom, his aunt, and then this other lady. They're all good friends. And they took us out of town to go shopping. But while we're out of town in Amarillo, they decided they went to go, pay a visit to this guy and the guy. I call him Chester in the book, Chester child molester. But so they went to go see Chester. They asked me, "You want to see him too?" I said, "Yeah, I want to go see him." Well, I was 14 or 15 at the time, I think, when got arrested. I didn't have a driver's license yet, and I didn't have an ID, so I wasn't allowed to go back. So I went home. I told my mom, "Mom, I got to get an ID." So my mom took me. I got an ID, and then next thing you know, I talked my mom into taking me to go visit him in jail. So then I continued on. I wrote him. I would uh, fake sick at night when church, like Sunday night was the night I faked sick, so that have the house to myself. And he'd call me, and then my mom would get the phone bills, and those were expensive. But that went on, so my sister found out, and she pissed off to it. But yeah, I even went on. I remember even college, I would write to him every now and then. He would send me gifts. It was just like I don't know. He's just a predator, but I look back and he's not even attractive.
Now, at the time when he was arrested for his crimes, did you know anything about it?
No, I kept saying, "Oh, he's not guilty. They had the wrong guy." And it's like, well, they have his fingerprints on the door handle. Well, no, it's just wrong guy. It's just they made it up. They planted evidence or whatever. I believe anything other than he was guilty of it. And even when the first time I wrote him and he wrote me, he told me, he goes, "Don't believe it, blah, blah, blah." And later on, he kind of confessed, but not truly. But yeah, so I did not believe it. I went on. I remember the day I was working my first job, the day I found out that he got arrested. And I went and took the trash out and I sat there at the dumpster and I was like, I just want to crawl in this dumpster and just be invisible. My whole world was shook. That was my one little box of happiness that wasn't, that the church couldn't keep from me. That was my one little box of happiness. And it was here one time we snuck out, or I snuck out, and he took me. We parked out in the country somewhere, and a cop came and knocked on the window. The cop didn't say, "Hey, you're 27, the girl's like 13. Maybe what's going on here?" He was like, "No, you just need to leave. You can't park here." It's like, looking back, I think, why did no one do anything about this?
Now, since this is your first podcast ever, since this is your first podcast ever, and have you spread the word about how you being on the podcast?
I spread word, on my Facebook and stuff, but I'm working on building, my TikTok and all that kind of stuff. I do not like my voice when it's recorded. I do not like it. So I've been putting off, making videos and for social media, but I'm doing a podcast, so I might as well just get out there
Oh,
now, right?
yeah, might as well, yeah. Now, in your book, and why do you choose to end the book in jail, and what can we expect from the next book?
So I started off the book thinking I would write way past high school, way past my senior. And the next thing I know, I've got I think it's 100 and I don't remember how many word pages I have, but when I translated from word pages to like book pages, I like over 450 pages. And I was okay. So I already have to edit down like 100 or so pages already. So I left it on a finger because I still have a lot of stories. That was only the beginning. My time after high school, I have lots of stories, and it's more like I hope to serve beer in hell. I've got lots of stories, so I left it on something to kind of be a little cliffhanger as to there's more to tell. There's more for you to read. There's more for me to share.
Now, I don't know if I asked this question or not, which I've asked in so many right now, but I'll ask it again. Did you ever think would you be writing a book or maybe two books?
I never thought I could. Even back when I thought about wanting to do it, I never thought I had a really hard time sitting in front of somebody, talking to somebody face to face. I had a really hard time explaining stuff. So I thought, I definitely can't write a book. I've never been a fan of English. My grammar is never correct, ever. And write a book. So no, I read all these pages. I'm like, well, I guess I can write a book. And I kind of enjoy it. It's soothing. My favorite thing is at nighttime. I love writing at night. I can stay up all night and write and write and write. And it's kind of become a little addicting to me. I love writing. I never thought I did, but I freaking love it.
Oh yeah.
But here I am.
Oh yeah. Now with the next book, and will it pick up from jail or would it pick up? Well, all right.
Yep. There's lots of stories, and I've got another friend who we talked about maybe doing we her husband and her own a bar. I've lived in Portales, New Mexico. I don't know if it's a very small town. It's not quite like Tuncurry. It's about 18. It's a little college town, and they own one of the bars here. And we had some crazy time. So we thought about even after I get my books out, maybe collabing together and doing a whole little uh drunken storybook.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's way down the road. That's way down the road.
How if your younger self was watching this podcast, what would you want them to hear most about it?
I would want my younger self to hear that it's okay to be you. It's okay to be me. It's so and be all the me that I can be. I haven't embraced myself more. The older I get, I embrace myself more, and I quit. I don't care about stuff I used to care about, and it brings a whole level of happiness. I used to be mean to people and rude, and that brings no joy. I learned the biggest lesson was when I lived in Mexico for a year and a half, and the way people are down there is changed my life a little bit. No, you can't go anywhere and people are upset. Everyone's happy all the time. You don't ever hear negativity. No one's ever upset. Everyone's happy. It doesn't matter if they have two pennies to rub together and that's it. And they live in a little shack. They are happy. You can go down the street and men are working. You give them a beer in the middle of the day. It's just the pure happiness. No one complains about anything. It's just pure happiness. And that was a major lesson. If I could go back and tell myself, just embrace happiness. Don't be mean to people. Be nice. And if they are not nice to you, then that's their problem. I be okay with myself. It's kind of I'm okay with myself. Accept it. And if you don't, then it's your problem.
Now, and do you think that if you well, do you think if you which I guess didn't change, that you would still be stuck in that religion and in that situation if nothing didn't change?
I would never have stayed in that religion. Nope. I had a countdown as soon as probably there were let me tell you there like backtracking. There was one day I was 11, 12 at the time. I don't know. But I had braces, and of course, there's no orthodontist in here. So we have to go to Ermelo once a month. And then once a month, we go to the orthodontist, and then we go shopping at the mall. And this one day in particular, we were at the mall. And I remember at the time, Snow White and Seven Dwarfs had become popular and bell bottoms. And there was a pair of bell bottom pants that had a dwarf on the bottom of the bell bottoms. And I sat there and I looked and I thought, I was sad because I said, there's going to be a day when I'm going to be able to choose. I'll wear pants, but I'm going to be too old to wear these Snow White and Seven Dwarf bell bottom pants. I'll never be able to get to wear these pants. And that kind of made me sad. But I mean, I had the knowledge of I will be able to do this one day, but it kind of made me sad to be able to not go back and do certain things at the time. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, how usually here on the podcast, towards the end of every episode here, I would to ask people if they got a closing thought and that they want to share with the viewers. And so, do you got a closing thought?
Boy, my cousin thought would be to everybody should embrace themselves. Everybody should let go a lot more, to judge a little bit less, embrace whatever past you have, embrace everybody else's past, and like not be so serious, not be so negative. Negativity can ruin a person's life. If you can sit there and point out all the negative stuff, which I can point out negative stuff in my life, it does nothing for me but make me want to go to bed. I sit there and I look forward to each and every day. I find something to look forward to. I find happiness no matter what, and I do not allow negativity around me. And so if people could just be a little less negative and a little more positive, no matter what's going on, no matter what you've gone through, embrace happiness, embrace the positivity, and your life is so much better when you do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, Carla, which I appreciate you coming on the podcast, and I wish you success in your upcoming book.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Had a lot of fun with you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. As always. All right, and that wraps up conversations with Jacob today. Also next week, Angela Linhart would be here, and then David Lutz, and then Vietnam veteran Jack Hager would be here, and that's coming up for the three next Monday. So until then, be safe and God bless, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.